Okay, so now we've merged our pathway, and we're going to basically select a random set of data. The first thing we go into is the with statement, which is kind of like a try exception clause. It will open a file, as you can see here, the pathway. The R is for read and used for universal, basically. All kinds of operating systems can work in terms of reading the file, so it'll allow us to kind of capture any data and open any files in the with statement. And so if there's any exceptions, just throw that. All we're doing here in this first one is basically counting the number of rows in our file. Then we're going to print that. So you can see the print statement there, which will print the number of rows. And then after that, we will then open the file once again. This is not completely necessary. In fact, we can actually even change this code here. You can see we already know the pathway, so we can just basically get rid of that. And we can basically open the file, read the rows once again, this time returning all the data in the rows, and also appending those specific data under the number of random integers. You can see we've added 1 to the random number, which allows us to incorporate the full number of random values. If you want 500 values, you have to add 1 because 500 is not inclusive in the random integers that are returned. So we'll now select basically a set of random numbers and random rows of data, which are then appended as the result of this operation, which is then going to be sent. As you can see here, we get the results, and they are sent to the print results command, or rather method, which is here the print results method. And in this method, we have a number of field names, which are then similar to before. We create a file. Instead of reading this time, we're going to write it out. So we look up the pathway in which we want to write it out. We find the example.py. We join it to the specific pathway we want, in this case being the SRC folder. You could also, of course, give it an output folder like you have here. And in this case, we're going to open in the file once again, but rather than reading it with R, we're going to write it with W. And B is basically for binary mode. And we're going to write the file using CSV. So CSV is an imported library which allows us to use the dictionary writer. So we're going to reference the field names we just created up here, the date, object, price, and other things. And we're going to write each specific data point. So we're going to return basically what is a dictionary that contains different types of data. They include date, object, price, location, category. These were read in the above command. So when we read the